Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of the Blobiverse Devlog. This time around, I do have some narration because I want to go over the optimizations that I've done and how they compare to the older Blobiverse. So, first of all, I'd like to start by saying the old Blobiverse updated everything as frequently as possible. It didn't really matter if that was the most efficient way to do it or not. If I spawned a blob somewhere off screen, that little guy was updating 60 times per second. It didn't even matter that you didn't see him. He was buttery smooth. He was fantastic. But as you know, that's not really efficient. Ideally, anything that's off screen only needs to update, say, once a second. In the old Blobiverse, trees actually updated once a second, but really I could get away with once every 10 seconds or 5 seconds. And with blobs, as opposed to 60 times a second all the time, I could really just update them once or twice every so few seconds. So with this in mind, I split Blobiverse into a series of regions. Regions are little squares. There's about a couple thousand of them in the world, and they track what's inside of them. If a region is on screen, obviously the things inside the region are on screen as well, and I want them updating at high fidelity. So the calculations need to happen as fast as possible, as frequently, and without any frame drops. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and test the new system by doing the most logical thing, which is of course spawning 100,000 of these huts. 400 is their ID. We're going to spawn them in a 15k radius. Now I'm just going to need to jig a little bit. It's obviously not going to be in the final version. Alright, so as you can see, there are a lot of buildings, and I am scrolling right now pretty fast, and the smoothness is unbelievable. I'm just going to zoom out here a little bit, and as you can tell, there are 4,000 of these buildings rendering at the same time, but in total there's 100,000 of them. They're there. It's just that because of the optimizations, I don't need to show their texture. I don't need to project them onto the background to make them look more 3D because of the new perspective. And that's a calculation that's fairly expensive on the CPU. So obviously I want to do that as rarely as possible. But if I zoom in all the way, you can tell that things are really fast. The reason being is that as I zoom out, and by the way, I can go quite far, all the way to 11,000 of these entities. Now it starts to slow down a little bit. I mean, you can really tell there. But more or less, Blobiverse is still surviving. I mean, I can still scroll around. It's not so bad. Now, this is not a realistic scenario. I mean, we filled the map chock full of these houses. In reality, we're going to expect to see maybe 1/10, maybe a quarter at maximum of the number of houses here. But depending on the optimizations, I might be able to make the Blobiverse world far larger than previously possible in the old versions. And I believe that's everything I have to show in this version, more or less. I hope you guys enjoyed sort of the briefing on the progress and how it all works. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you'll be back for the next devlog. See ya!